to thank you for being how you are, and to thank you for inspiring many of us to think differently and to act accordingly. So, sir, it is my honor to invite you to deliver the opening speech of this very special event.
Eccellență voastră, doamnelor și domnilor, este o mare bucurie să mă aflu din nou în România, după 3 ani de absență. Gândurile mele au fost cu voi în această perioadă dificilă. If I may, I would particularly like to thank the European Forest Institute and Mark Palachi, who gave a very undeserved little series of remarks just now, for organising this event on forest biodiversity, which also, of course, launches the superb project, the largest transnational forest restoration project in Europe. So this occasion today is of crucial importance because forests are literally the backbone of life and nature on our planet. And when forests first emerged about 300 million years ago, the world was 10 degrees centigrade hotter and CO2 concentrations were 10 times what they are today. Forests made our planet more habitable, and their destruction will make it distinctly uninhabitable for humans and much other terrestrial life, of course. And this is because, and I don't want to teach grandmothers to suck eggs because you're all the experts, this is because forests are our largest terrestrial carbon sink, our main terrestrial source of water, and the main host for biodiversity. And if managed sustainably and holistically, forests are also a key renewable resource necessary to transition towards a circular bioeconomy. Such a transition is, I must say, urgently needed. Because after relying for more than 100 years on a linear and fossil-based economy, we have arrived at a tipping point. The world is, in many respects, has become too big for our planet. So for the health, security, and livelihoods of our and future generations, we need to protect, invest, and work in symbiosis with nature. Our economy ultimately depends on us doing so. Nature is estimated to contribute $125 trillion to the global economy annually, well, I suspect it's much, much more than that. Everything we use, produce and purchase has ultimately been created from nature's inputs. The problem is that our current economic model does not provide the right signals and incentives to the markets to work for and with nature. So, ladies and gentlemen, having arrived at such a tipping point, we need to rethink our economy if we want to rewrite our future. And this really is why, with Mark Palachi, and I cannot thank him enough for all his incredible efforts in this regard, but this is why I helped to establish with him the Circular Bioeconomy Alliance, coordinated by the European Forest Institute, which works with partners all around the world to invest in life and nature rather than simply linear consumption. A circular bioeconomy is about investing in three mutually reinforcing engines: biodiversity, innovation, and local and indigenous communities, often forgotten about in the process, I think. And the three are indispensable to restore natural capital and manage sustainably our biological systems to produce food, energy, ecosystem services, and bio-based solutions to decarbonize our economy, while generating new jobs and prosperity. There are now signs that there is at last growing interest in investing in these solutions across both public and private sectors. However, if we want to see tangible and rapid results on the ground, then we need to articulate and demonstrate the immediate and long-term value of these investments. The Circular Bioeconomy Alliance aims to connect the dots between investors and local communities in order to create regenerative and inclusive landscapes and sustainable value chains that work for nature and for people. Frankly, I don't know about you, but we've all had enough talking, so we need to put our words and commitments into practice rapidly. And this is why, as I speak, the Circular Bioeconomy Alliance is working with local communities in more than 15 countries so far, across 4 continents, to restore thousands of hectares of land. Such work includes Romania too, because the intrinsic connection between our human life and natural capital is something that Romanian people have understood only too well for centuries. In no other place in Europe, ladies and gentlemen, have I found such well-preserved and such productive landscapes, which can function at so large a scale. And this, in my view, can be explained by the natural richness of Romania, where some of the largest remnants of old-growth forests on the continent can be found, and where, for instance, 200 species of butterflies exist, compared to only 40 in my country, the United Kingdom. All who travel here have something to learn from the way Romania has been able to rely on regenerative approaches to create species-rich systems and socio-ecologically rich landscapes in areas such as Transylvania, where people still live in harmony with nature. This is not old-fashioned, out-of-date and inefficient. It is in fact the very essence of sustainability, based on a profound understanding of nature's principles and limits. It is above all timeless wisdom in practice. I hope some of you have a chance to see Romania's rural landscapes during the following days. Such landscapes that I have personally enjoyed for years have an almost spiritual, but also social, economical, and ecological significance, which should inspire other countries in Europe to restore the balance between nature and society. The biodiversity here in Romania remains to me unique in Europe. Alongside the ancient mixed forest, there is the size and quality of the major mammals such as bear, lynx, and wolves, and incomparable upland and lowland ancient meadowland with commensurate wildflower riches. These ecosystems, this biodiversity, deserve our attention, for they are now at serious risk of destruction. But I mean serious. Just at a point in time, this is the irony of all this when they provide us with a critically important model for a circular green economy that can, at last, attract investment in natural, social and cultural capital. It is surely the shared duty of leaders, decision makers and citizens to tackle the many threats to our natural environment from the consequences of climate change and biodiversity loss. And in this regard, Romania has an unprecedented opportunity to act and capitalise on recovery plan funds to develop and implement innovative nature-based solutions. Now, if I may say so, ladies and gentlemen, it is not lost on me that we are holding this conference while across the border Ukraine's territory has been invaded. And as I have seen with my own eyes, Romania's response has been remarkable in both its humanity and its immense generosity. So my thoughts and prayers are with all Ukrainians, and I am proud that organizations I have been working with for years have done much to offer support. It is a tragedy of immense proportions to witness such death, destruction and misery, when we should all be working together to tackle the greatest planetary emergency our world has ever faced. We must also be aware that what we are witnessing relates to our discussion today. A recent UN report, for instance, has highlighted the growing economic impact of the crisis in Ukraine, which only exacerbates the climate and biodiversity emergency. We would be doing future generations the greatest disservice not to respond to the global challenges this war has highlighted. And this means investing now in systems that enable sustainable food and energy and which protect our natural capital.